What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat, or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode? Langston Hughes was born in Joplin, Missouri on February 1st, 1902. He was an American poet, social activist, novelist, playwright, and columnist. Hughes spent most of his childhood in Lawrence, Kansas, raised mainly by his maternal grandmother. In his 1940 autobiography, The Big C, he wrote, "I was unhappy for a long time, and very lonesome, living with my grandmother. Then it was that books began to happen to me, and I began to believe in nothing but books, and the wonderful world in books, where, if people suffered, they suffered in beautiful language, not in monosyllables, as we did in Kansas." Hughes attended Columbia University for a short while. In 1923, he signed on as a crewman aboard the SS Malone, spending 6 months traveling to West Africa and Europe. During his time in England in the early 1920s, Hughes encountered the poet Vachel Lindsay, with whom he shared some poems. Impressed, Lindsay publicized his discovery of a new black poet. By this time, Hughes' earlier work had been published in magazines and was about to be collected into his first book of poetry. Hughes earned a BA degree from Lincoln University in 1929. Afterward, he returned to New York, where he lived in Harlem for the remainder of his life. Some academics and biographers believe that Hughes was homosexual and included homosexual codes in many of his poems, as did Walt Whitman, whom Hughes cited as an influence on his poetry. Hughes' life and work were enormously influential during the Harlem Renaissance in the 1920s, alongside those of his contemporaries: Zora Neale Hurston, Wallace Thurman, Claude McKay, Countee Cullen, Richard Bruce Nugent, and Aaron Douglas. Except for McKay, they worked together also to create the short-lived magazine Fire, devoted to younger Negro artists. In his novels, stories, and poems, Hughes stressed a racial consciousness and cultural nationalism devoid of self-hate. His thought united people of African descent across the globe. On May 22, 1967, Hughes died in New York City at the age of 65 from complications after surgery related to prostate cancer. His ashes are interred beneath a floor medallion in the middle of the foyer of the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture in Harlem. It is the entrance to an auditorium named for him. The design on the floor is an African cosmogram entitled Rivers. The title is taken from his poem, The Negro Speaks of Rivers. I've known rivers. I've known rivers ancient as the world and older than the flow of human blood in human veins. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. I bathed in the Euphrates when dawns were young. I built my hut near the Congo, and it lulled me to sleep. I looked upon the Nile and raised the pyramids above it. I heard the singing of the Mississippi when Abe Lincoln went down to New Orleans, and I've seen its muddy bosom turn all golden in the sunset. I've known rivers, ancient, dusky rivers. My soul has grown deep like the rivers.